All right, guys. As you know, tonight is Sunday, March 19th, 2023, 8:30 p.m. I'm going to call the executive committee meeting to order. We have 11 of the 12 members with us at this point in time. The only individual who is absent is George Valerie, who is down in Florida with his family. So we understand that and respect that. He did reach out to us. So I've got 6 things on the agenda, and we can move through them pretty quickly, but I'd like to get going if we could here. First thing we have up is the review of the season. It was an interesting season to say the least. I think we had ups, downs, backwards, forwards, a little bit of everything. But most importantly, I think it went pretty well. I would offer up an opportunity at this point in time from anybody on the executive committee, any assigners, or anybody involved at a higher level to be able to have an opportunity to speak about the season itself.
From this assigner's perspective, the season went very well, despite some of the challenges we faced with teams moving games at the last minute, changing times, that sort of thing. All games were covered to my satisfaction. Unfortunately, we had a few instances where we had to have guys do JV varsity doubleheaders, but we managed to get through that, and I appreciate everyone who took on that challenge, because it ain't easy. Particularly on the girls' side. Girls JV basketball can be a handful to both watch and officiate. So,
any major issues come up for you, Tom?
Nope. Well, yeah, we had a coaching staff that's well known for being a pain, reared their ugly head. And I took care of it with a quick email to the principal and the athletic director. And the email was basically, what is going on now? Why are these two like this? Why are they misbehaving? And the thing is, the team wasn't very good. And I had spoken to the coach at a preseason scrimmage, and he acknowledged, we're young, we're going to stink. Yet he still decided he was going to be a clown. And they pulled some shenanigans on a Tuesday night. They had a game scheduled for Wednesday. On Wednesday morning, I sent the email to the principal and the AD. Wednesday night, as luck would have it, I was assigned to their game. He was an angel. He was not gonna, he had been talked to, and all reports are he was pretty good for the rest of the way. Yeah, so Jeff, hopefully the message got through.
Jeff and I talked about that before you guys came on. It's just what we can do from an executive committee standpoint about helping people understand there's a certain level of decorum that's expected. It was tough at times. It's not only coaches, it's also fans, it's parents. It makes officiating challenging, to say the least, in certain situations. There's no doubt about it.
Well, you're privy to the email that went out from the parent of a visiting team in the state tournament.
Correct.
And I actually emailed her back after her second response, but I didn't include any of you in the email because, as I told her, you had nothing to do with the assigning of the officials for that game. That's 100% in my lap. And she should not have been bothering you guys or people from the Boston board or people from the MIAA. And I got a very nice email back from the head coach from the visiting team, because the AD at Hudson had shared all this with the powers that be at the visiting team. And the head coach said that she had spoken with this mother before she sent the original email and pretty much told her it wasn't necessary, but I can't stop you. You can do what you want. And she did. But I believe we have the situation straightened out. The coach and I exchanged 2 or 3 very pleasant, literally pleasant emails, not being sarcastic for once in my life. And we're in a good spot, the two of us. I hold no animosity towards that school or the coach. Can't control what the mother did.
Do we know if the MIAA got involved with anything or addressed that correspondence?
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
As they shouldn't.
No, I think they just hit the delete button and moved on.
Okay.
The Hudson AD was terrific. She asked me after the first email, do you want me to forward this to them? And I said, nope, not necessary. If it continues, maybe we do. And after the second one, she took it upon herself to reach out because she's pretty friendly with their AD and said, and as I said to the woman that sent the original email, I haven't forwarded this to anyone at your school. Do they even know you're doing this? And that was Jess at Hudson's point was, you should know what one of your parents is up to here. So I'm pretty sure we've nipped it.
Thank you.
That was a week ago and I haven't heard anything since. So
I appreciate your follow through with that, Tommy. And I know it's not an easy situation to navigate. So again, thank you very much. And, tournament time brings out the worst and best in all of us. And unfortunately, parents do feel as though they have the right to pen off letters on how they feel about certain things. And it's unfortunately part of
well, I get questioning calls and all that. But when she went on and essentially, you saw the original email, she accused those three guys of cheating and being biased. None of the three of them live in Hudson. None of the three of them have kids that went to Hudson. None of the three of them went to Hudson themselves. So, where you'd say that they cheated I can't let that go. I wasn't going to let that go unchallenged because that would be remiss of me as an assigner, not backing my guys.
I agree.
And if you're professional and you work your tail off, I will back you to the ends of the earth.
I might be late to the party, but how did she get the emails or information in the first place?
Oh, she did a deep dive. This woman works at a law firm in Boston. Now, to me, going and doing a deep dive and finding like board presidents and board secretaries, because she had Dean and George. She had the president of the Boston board, the secretary of the Boston board, CC'd, Rich Pearson and 2 or 3 others at the MIAA, and a couple of people from the state board. Now,
really?
Doing that research to me is not a way to make partner, but what do I know?
And what school was she from?
Fontbonne Academy.
Who?
Fontbonne Academy. It's an all-girls Catholic school in Milton.
Wow.
They used to come up when Pat Murphy was coaching at North Middlesex. He'd schedule them home and away every year because they always had a good program and he liked the coach. And I had actually worked a couple of games in that matchup, and she's been there for 25 years and she was always a class act, total professional, never questioned anything. So where she picked this mother up from, I don't know, but.
Well, I think it was handled correctly. You wrote a response, you took care of it. And as far as I'm concerned, we're going to wash our hands of it at this point in time because those things are going to come up all the time. Unfortunately,
you can, because I already have.
Good. As you should have. And again, I thank you for taking the time to respond to her in that capacity. Anybody else on the call want to just talk about the season, anything that came up? Gus, from your perspective as interpreter in regards to any questions from people?
So I had a very active year this year with people calling me about different rules, interpretations, and officials mostly, which was really good. It was nice to hear that they were all reaching out. Something would happen in a game and they'd just want confirmation whether they did something right, wrong, or indifferent. And I'm going to say 85 to 90% of the time our guys did it correctly. And the other times that they didn't do it correctly, they didn't do anything that actually hurt either team. It was just the result of it was the same, but the implementation maybe wasn't quite right. But it was good to hear from guys this year. It was a lot of it. I got a lot of like clips and things, so it was good. It was a good year overall from an interpretive standpoint. Few coaches here or there, not as many as usual, which was fine with me. Overall, I think our guys did a good job officiating. I talked to a few people here or there about some of things that maybe they didn't do quite right from a handling themselves correctly after games and things, getting off the floor when they should get off the floor, things like that. But it was easy to handle those situations. One was a game I was involved in, and I kind of ripped one of our veteran officials a new butt once we got into the locker room. And but things like that. They just wanted to socialize after games instead of getting off the floor. We're not there to socialize. We're there to get off the floor.
Makes a lot of
Officiate the
sense.
game, handle the handshake, and get off the floor. You want to socialize later after you change and shower? Go ahead. But don't do it in uniform and leave your partners hung out there to dry, standing in a doorway, waiting for you. So
Well, I think our preseason meeting with the coaches has a lot to do with clarification on a lot of those things, Gus. So again, I thank you for doing that. I'm glad that people are reaching out to you because I think that's important that our membership has an opportunity to reach out to an interpreter if there are questions. I'm glad there weren't a lot of them, but I'm glad there's still a flow because that means they do care about what they're doing. So.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot of calls from officials, which was nice.
Yeah. How about from coaches looking for clarification?
Not just no more than usual, but it was nothing, and none of them were very upset about anything. Sometimes I get a call from a coach who's upset.
Yep.
About something. This was more or less, hey, this happened in our game tonight, and twice I was able to say, yeah, I already talked to the officials about it.
Good.
Which was nice. So
good. Anybody else update season anything? Okay, seeing none, let's just talk about the kickoff for next year. I would still like for us to be thinking about what that's going to look like, continuation of that opportunity to bring our board as well as maybe multiple boards together for that quick opportunity to see what that looks like, to at least collaborative practice. I mean, open up for discussion.
I thought the opening thing we did last year was tremendous. I'd like to see attendance get better, but you can't, we offered it as a meeting. I don't know what else we can do to entice people to it. Didn't charge them to be there. But, it would have been nice to see more people in attendance, but I think the people that were there got a lot out of it. And I do like the idea of incorporating the other local boards.
We look at September again.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just taking notes as we speak. So again, it's open for discussion for anybody. There's no, you don't have to raise your hand. You can just chime in.
Would we split that cost with other boards, I assume? Or
Yeah, I think we have to.
Or would we charge other, if you're coming from another board, would we charge you like $5 to cover your, whatever, just making sure that we're not the one that's footing the bill for 600. Yeah.
George would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just charge, $5-7 a head, whatever the meal costs.
Yep.
Okay.
We could, I mean, the cost of renting the venue doesn't change by the number of people.
It's
That's
Right,
a
just
fixed
just that open
cost. So,
space. Yeah.
so even if it's just us, it's gonna cost whatever, $350, $400, whatever they charge.
And there's a sign up link that would be sent out to other boards. So we'd know who's coming and who's not coming. And they would,
Right. And how would that, so would we just collect cash there then? Like, how would that?
Yeah,
Okay.
cash at the door.
Okay.
or they could mail the check if they were coming, whatever's easier
Yeah.
for them.
Okay. I just
Yeah,
want to
we'll
make sure
start.
that we don't have people signing up and then just showing up and,
Yeah.
you know,
It shouldn't be to additional cost to our board membership in any
No,
capacity.
exactly, yeah.
And I agree with that. Logistically, we can have a meeting and work out all those things and what that can look like. But I do think it would behoove us to connect and collaborate with our fellow board members, just because we need some strength in numbers here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the way that we'd handle that is you'd talk to the people down at Milford, and if Milford's got 25 people coming to it, they're gonna let us know in advance. We're anticipating 25 people, and we'd get a check for them for 25 people
Yeah.
at whatever the cost of it is.
We're gonna limit
know?
it just to Milford and Fitchburg.
No, Milford, Fitchburg, and I would say Framingham.
Yeah, that
Marlboro
Marlboro
board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marlboro, yeah, Marlboro, Framingham, whatever. I think they're considered a
Yeah,
Framingham.
the three that abut us.
Right.
Basically.
Obviously same location, just because it was nice outside covered area. So rain or
Yep.
shine, it's not really,
As long as the bartender doesn't go home.
Well,
well, he's gotta show up first.
he's gotta show up first, that's right.
Yeah.
But again,
So-
as that gets bigger, it'll be more organized and, yeah, like I said, it was the first year, so I do anticipate we'll have more membership next year when we do this, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
So quick question. And maybe I'm kind of put too many things in one time, but we used to do like a training, invited like Ray McClure. I think that was his name, Ray McClure, the guy that came out and kind of went over the rules of basketball and his experiences, etc. Do we want to bring something like that to this, or just kind of leave it as a meet and greet?
Well, the McClure thing was he was here for a weekend
Right.
and he don't work for free.
No, I know, but I mean, I guess along the lines of just having, some sort of a draw. Not that we're looking or begging people to show, but just something. I guess a little more because you have your new classes that are there. Something that for professionals, for veterans, something to kind of like unify.
You want like a keynote speaker.
Something. I mean, it's just kind of an idea that we can put out there, just to kind of draw, a
Derek,
better
I'm
attendance.
not gonna dismiss that, because I think that's something we should look at a subsequent meeting, logistics for this. Only because of the fact that to your point, I think it would be a draw. But again, I don't know if we want to pay anybody to come in. If that's the case, I don't think that would be prudent on our part. But I mean, again, you might find people, if we feed them and offer them up some hospitality, that
Right.
they would come and do it.
So I believe Ron Martell is the president of IBO,
Yeah, that's a great person to start with. Yeah,
and I believe if we actually had Ron Martell come in and give a talk about the status of IBO or whatever,
yeah.
might be a direction to go.
Ron's originally a member of the Milford board, so maybe that'll even help bring some people in from Milford.
Isn't he still a member of the Milford board?
No, last time I knew, Ron was in Vermont for I don't know how many years, unless he came back.
No, I think he's
He's
still
back.
on.
I think he's a
think he's-
dual Rhode Island to Milford. guy.
Yeah, dual Rhode Island Milford
Oh, is he?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was up in Vermont, Ron was still up in Vermont too.
Okay.
Well, that's before they had indoor plumbing in Vermont, Donnie. So that's a while back.
Oh, okay.
All right, good conversation. I definitely want to put that on for a future agenda item. We'll talk about that sometime in April or early May, just to make sure we get everything solidified. So be thinking about that. If you have any thoughts, let's make sure that we bring them up at the next time that we meet. Let's talk about sportsmanship platform. Ann Ash, Savini Hardy, Tommy had reached out to me earlier. I think from collectively throughout the committee, I still think it's a good thing to do. I can get those ballots out this week, and I can have everybody vote. I think it's the end of the season. Now's a good time to do that, and then present it possibly at this kickoff meeting. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
I don't think we abandon them. That's
Nope.
such a long-standing tradition. So yeah, definitely let's go forward with it. If need be, we can get the banners and present them to the school before the end of the year, before the end of the academic year. And then still invite the coaches and the AD to the kickoff thing.
Yeah, I think Tommy's got some, kind of important there that we vote for this and we give it to them, whether we get ourselves invited to their sports banquet or whatever, or, set up a day to have some of us go into the school to award this, because the seniors of this year, it's a key thing for them to win this award. It's not necessarily, next year's team that we're giving the award to, it's this year's team.
Right.
So I'd like to, try to get that done and set something up. We can announce it again and, like you say, invite them to the kickoff. But, without us having a banquet at the end of the year, it's a little difficult to give out end of the season awards.
And I think that some on this committee, we could probably get two, maybe individuals go out and just deliver them to the schools. I think that's not a bad thing to do through athletic directors and figure
Right.
out what that looks
And
like.
even if we ask if they're having a senior sports banquet or a sports banquet, that we can just drop into the banquet, not necessarily attend the banquet, but drop into the banquet and give this award to them.
Yeah, you get put on the agenda not to eat or anything,
No.
just
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
to
I
show
mean,
up.
they're
Hey,
probably
here
gonna
you go,
say-
congratulations.
right. They'll probably tell us to come anyway, to the banquet, but we don't want to butt our ways into it.
No,
I kind of like the personalized delivery, and if they do have a banquet, just say, hey, listen, this is from us. That might be enough, honestly.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
again, that's a nice thing to do. We don't have to do the extra mile of having them come to our kickoff banquet. Again, open for discussion. I don't want to take away from tradition, but it's a good time to refine and create new pathways to make this meaningful.
So-
Thoughts, suggestions, otherwise?
well, just
Good.
because it was him, I know going to our banquet was the highlight of Jimmy Hackinson's social season.
Well, note to self, Jimmy Hackins is not coaching anymore, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, but he was always good for a humorous talk.
Oh, of course he was. No, of course he was. There's no doubt. But again, it's like I said, coming out of post-COVID, everything's ripe for a little bit of change and adjustment. So as long as we keep the tradition alive and recognize those individuals who are involved with this, I think we still win.
Tommy just mentioned Jimmy Hackinson. I went to had a game at Clark this year on the girls' side of the Clark tournament, and Brad Monroe was there.
Yep.
And he was talking about our banquets and things and how they always appreciated getting invited to the banquets and things like that. This kickoff thing, is this also an opportunity to maybe invite coaches?
I was just thinking that, Gus, in my brain. Do we offer them, do we do like an executive committee thing before everybody else shows up and we have the coaches, and that's when we have our coaches discussion with them, rather not through Zoom, but in person, that we offer that to them? Or do we just offer it as, hey, come hang out?
No, I think you got to offer it as a, hey, come out, because we don't have the necessarily
rules
rules
yet.
out by
Oh,
that
that's
time.
true. Yeah.
We want to have that still at November timeframe,
Right,
close to
yeah.
the season.
Yeah.
But it might be an opportunity. And if we have 10 coaches show up, I'd be surprised. And even some of these older, some of these people like the Brad Monroes of the world, but when you do something like that, it's a matter of, do you miss somebody and somebody gets pissed off, or
It's good PR though. To your point,
Yes.
Gus, it really is.
Yep. Yep.
It can't hurt.
No, I
No.
think Gus is right. I don't think you're going to see more than 8 or 10 actually show up.
Right.
But if you invite them all, no one can say they were slighted.
Right.
We invited you. You chose to say no. That's fine. We get it.
Well, where do you stop? Where does the invitation list stop? Is what something to throw out there.
Head coaches.
So Clark
the
Tournament
schools we-
Committee, head coaches.
Yep.
Was there a committee for that Central Mass tournament?
Yeah.
Or was that just,
That was just ADs.
yeah,
That was the Central Mass ADs tournament.
right. But
And
was there a,
that committee was Pete Jones from AMSA, Tanya Rich from Neshoba, and Jeff Rudzinski from Marlboro.
so maybe we should send a thing to those three as well. If we're gonna send it to the Clark Tournament Committee,
Yep,
we'll send it to that committee as well.
right. And then, Westboro is that's just Johanna. She's
Right, right. But that's an independent school type.
right. And she's a
Tournament,
committee of,
you know.
she's a committee of one.
Yeah, I don't think we spread it out that far.
No, I
you know, 'cause
agree.
that's-
I agree.
Cause that's just, cause a lot of schools have tournaments and,
Right.
the committees are one, like you said.
Okay.
But, just food for thought to throw it out there.
Good discussion. We have some time to talk about that. Let's go on to the next thing we have, the review of delinquent dues. Obviously, George is here tonight, so we're gonna table that until the next. Well, we're gonna have to get in touch with George. By our bylaws, we have until the end of the month. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a
Yep.
lot of delinquent dues? Do we have a number on that?
Without George on the call, I don't know. I'll reach out to him and I'll get the exact number and get it out to you guys so you know.
That's fine.
Okay. Last I spoke to him, there weren't many. He said he was getting them in left and right, which is good. We're getting better in that process, and holding them accountable. So not a bad thing.
Good.
Nope.
Next up, we have Don Allery, Ethics Committee update. Don and I have spoken previously, and I'm going to give the floor to Don at this point in time so he can speak in regards to his current position and what his thoughts are.
Good evening, everybody. Dean and I have had several conversations concerning the Ethics Committee over the last several months. My personal situation is that I plan on retiring work-wise this coming December. Some of you know I built a house down in Florida, so currently I have the luxury of owning 2 homes, but hopefully not much longer. But my plans are that I am going to step down as chairman of the Ethics Committee because I don't think it's fair for the board to go through a transition of the committee during the middle of the season. And quite frankly, if things go to plan personally, I'll probably be a permanent resident of Florida, hopefully by the 1st of January. Currently, the committee is made up of myself as chair, Bruce Edwards as vice chair, Jack Reardon and Stan Hilton. We've been down one committee member for a little bit better part of a year and a half now. Finding people can be a challenge, particularly for this committee, because the sensitivity of the topics that sometimes come our way, particularly when they involve other officials. It's always difficult to be on this ethics committee when you have to render judgment against fellow officials and still have to, go out on the court and work with them. So it takes a very special individual that's a working official to be on the committee. You always look for people that are well balanced in terms of judgment and so forth. Bruce, so as part of this transition that I discussed with Dean, Bruce has agreed to accept the position as chairman of the ethics committee. I will stay on for the first year of transition, and I'll be transitioning a lot of stuff in discussions with Bruce this summer. But I will be available even if I'm down in Florida if some difficult situations arise where the committee needs me in terms of history or guidance into particular situations. Over the last couple of years, we've had situations, concerning officials being accused of racism and so forth, which has, elevated, some of the situations. And there's a lot of sensitivities that have to be taken into account when you're dealing with those type situations. In addition to that, I'll be having some discussions with Dean as well as Bruce as to how do we go about replacing what will end up being 2 open spots on the committee so that we can get it back up to 5. I've enjoyed my time on the committee. There's been some good times, and there's been some bad times, and some difficult situations that the committee and myself have had to come to, and that's what I alluded to earlier. I've had some situations where difficult situations had to be dealt with and punishments levied, and then find myself, going out and working with the game with that individual a week later. It's not an easy thing to do. But I want to thank everybody on the board for the support you've had in me for the last, 20 years that I've been on the ethics committee. I've enjoyed my affiliation with the board. I hope to still partake in some of the banquets and, summer type stuff, the kickoff that we're now transitioning to, if I happen to be in the area during that time. But if things go well for me, in terms of my goal of retiring here in December and living around, it's been, a desire for us to live in a warm climate. And while I'm still young enough to enjoy it, that's our plans. And I just wanted to let everybody know my intentions tonight, and to thank everybody on the board for everything you've done for me over my officiating career, as well as being chair of the ethics committee. So thank you all.
So Don, on behalf of the executive committee as a whole, I want to thank you for your time and your professionalism and your commitment to doing the right thing. And the right thing isn't always the easy thing to do in a position such as what you held. So again, I will open this up at this point in time for any other conversation from any other executive member.
This is Gus, just jumping in. Don, yeah, thank you. I'll stress what Dean said. Thank you for everything you've done. Just to make sure with our bylaw people, this is an appointed position, the head of ethics, not a voted on position.
Yes, it is.
And it's appointed by the president
of
with the
board. Yes, sir.
recommendation of the executive committee.
Yep.
And the people that we bring on to it, that second person that we bring on to fill it out, is that an appointed by the head of the executive committee? I mean, by the president, or by the head of the ethics committee?
All committee assignments are presidential assignments.
Okay. All right,
So,
just so that we,
chair, vice
Hey,
chair,
Tommy, in terms, well, I don't know how you got it written up now, but the assigning of the chairman of the ethics committee has always been the president of the board.
Yes.
And then the committee members on the ethics committee was usually at the choosing of the chairman of the ethics committee.
right, and
Okay.
either way, if it's a recommendation of the chairman of the ethics committee, if we have to go give that recommendation to the president for the president and the executive to okay it, either way that works.
right. I believe Don is right, but I can research it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Don
But
has
I
it
do
right.
know for a fact that the ethics committee is no different than any other committee in terms of that the chairman is named by the president of the board.
Correct.
So committee chairs have changed over time. A new president comes in and says, no, I want Bill Smith to be the chairman of this committee, or Joe Jones
Yep.
to be the chairman of that committee. And that's just the way it works. Because the president has to work with those committee chairs to run programs and such.
Right.
So he or she is entitled to put someone they're comfortable with in those positions. Ethics has been one of those ones that once the chair was named, nobody ever, took someone doing something like Don is walking away, rather than no president in my memory has ever changed the ethics chair.
Right, that's because we just don't let the president know they have that authority if we don't want to.
Well, yeah, there is always that.
Stability is a good thing as well. So again, especially when you're dealing with these types of circumstances. I
As long
would,
as we're all on the same page with that.
I would respectfully ask through the board, however, that I put out an email seeing if there's anybody interested in joining for the open seats. other than for Bruce in regards to, unless, Lenny, is there any exception to Bruce being in that position from the executive committee?
No.
No.
Okay. I think he has the history. I think he has the knowledge. He has the friendship with Don. He has that connectivity. I think it would be great if Bruce would do that for us.
And he's similar to Donnie. He can be a prick, so.
Well, we're gonna censor that out because this is being recorded.
Oh,
but
yeah, well, I wasn't too
I do
bad.
appreciate your honesty, Gus.
Yeah.
Well, one thing in the transition I discussed with Dean, I want Bruce to be able to start the beginning of the season with a full committee. So if anybody that's on the executive committee currently, you've had enough experience at what happens, on the ethics committee. Think about some individuals on the board that you think that would be good candidates. If you would bring them to my attention over the next month or so I can start that process with Dean and Bruce, so that by the end of the summer, we have the committee in place and ready to go for Bruce come September.
Okay. I will say one thing from a not necessarily bylaws standpoint, but those of us on the executive committee should probably refrain from getting onto the ethics committee, because in the end, by bylaw, the ethics committee only recommends repercussions on an individual. The executive committee decides that ultimately.
To Tommy's point, that would be a conflict of interest if we had somebody from the executive committee also serving on the ethics committee.
Right. You'd be voting on your own idea.
That's right.
But if somebody was to be of interest in that position on the executive committee, they could resign from the executive committee to accept the position on the ethics committee.
Precisely.
Yes.
You just can't do both.
Right. Okay.
And I think, with Bruce, and you got Jackie Reardon and you got Stanley and, also on there, there is a need for us to really, Dean keeps on telling me how important, the work is that we do on the ethics committee, and some people have benefited for that when they've been wrongly accused in the work that goes behind the scenes. But it's important that we start getting some young talent involved in that committee, because it should be a longer term commitment so that people have the experience, they build the experience on that committee so that we can transition them into higher positions within the committee. But it's not too long down the road. I don't think that Stanley and Jackie will be looking to serve as well. So I think now's the time that we really need to take a hard look at starting to train the committee.
In your opinion, Don, should we reach out to Jack and Stan and see if they want to continue?
I can reach out to them and explain to them what we're transitioning. I would hope, my situation is unique where I'm going to be moving away, and I don't think I should be, handling this committee any longer if I'm going to be moving, living in Florida. And I want to make this as easy as a transition as possible. I would hope that Jackie and Stan would at least stay on for another year or so while we transition this committee.
Yeah, we definitely want them to stay as active members of the board like that.
Yes, I think it. Sorry, go ahead, Gus.
No, we're not looking to replace them, I would say. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Don't give that opinion,
No, but just tell them the situation and let them decide whether or not they want to transition with someone new, or they say, you know what, you're going, I'm going too.
Right. I'm hoping that with the easy transition with Bruce, since Bruce has been on the committee for a number of years, and so has Jackie and Stanley, that they will stay on for another year or two while we start to rebuild this committee. And I'll have that conversation with both of them. If Dean, if you want me to handle the conversation, or if you.
I'm great. I'm fine with that. I got enough on my plate, but I would just say out of common courtesy to both of them, I think that just having that conversation with them, allowing them to understand your plan, what you're doing is the right thing to do. And I'm hoping that they would stay on. There's not a lot of heavy lifting for them, but
Right.
it's still, I don't know what their life is and their lifestyles at this point in time.
Yep. All right. Oh, okay. So with that, I will have that conversation.
Thank you. Again, we appreciate all the work you've done. So we'll go from there. We'll continue on with this and we'll move forward.
Okay.
Next thing we have is just open floor. Anybody else?
One thing, Special Olympics was today at Auburn High School. Bobby Cussin was in charge of the whole thing. He worked with me. We used Arbiter to assign it. We used only provisional people because by bylaw they had to do it. They all showed up. They all worked. And I've gotten a couple of emails from them and seen at least one Facebook post saying it was the best thing they've ever done in their life.
Awesome.
So
Yep. Kudos to Bobby.
a good day at Auburn.
Yep. Kudos to Bobby and everybody who stepped up. Tommy, thank you very much for the assigning through Arbiter. I know Babe was pretty persistent and to ensure that we still had our stake in what we do. So again, I appreciate the communication across boards.
Yep. Bobby dealt with Babe.
Yep.
Told him we had it all covered. So, and it turns out we did.
Nice. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn. It's exactly 9:15.
Motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion.
All right, Derek, second by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at this point in time. I am going to end the